Hey guys, what's going on? TheRiaya here with part 204 for free editors going into 2017. I'll be going over Shotcut, the features, the pros, and the cons. This video is definitely going to be longer than the one about VSDC due to the fact that it is a much better program and it deserves to be looked farther into. Now, why would I say this about Shotcut? Well, for one, obviously, other than the fact that it is also a free program, but two, it is based off of the whole FFmpeg line of free codecs and whatnot for video formats that you can export to. But three, the actual color grading and such and lossless coding that you can export to is going to be just as good as the video that you've imported into it, as I will show on the video. And four, overall, it is an easier program to work with towards the filters, setting fade in and fade outs. Now, as I also stated, I will be covering pros and cons with it as well. So this isn't all flowers and roses. You could say that it is the second worst, but it is far superior to VSDC. So now let me get into the program. I will be switching over to actual full recording that I will be doing with OBS while talking about it, and it will go over everything, so just give me a quick second. Alright, here we go. We're inside the program Shotcut itself, and we're going to get some editing done in here. There are three main things I'm going to be going over. First will be the layout of the actual program, then we'll be going over pros and cons of it. Now, when you first load up Shotcut, it looks like this. Over on settings, you can go over to video mode, set it to automatic, which will detect the video you bring in, so it'll adjust it appropriately to your settings. Or you can select from one of these presets below, or set up a custom one if they don't have the one that you specifically want. If you want to get more advanced into it, you can go in and set it up yourself under this video tab here, frame rate, type of scan mode, and such. It also states here the format for what you'll be exporting the file as. The format is the handler. You get .mp4.mov. It has a lot on here. This program is built upon the FFmpeg coder, basically, that you could use for advanced video editing for free on pretty much every single codec underneath the sun. Now, we'll get to the export one later, because you can see here that it has a lot of presets that you can use, and you really do not have to be using anything else. But as I stated, we'll get into that later. Now, when you first open up a file, you of course select open file, and you just open up whichever one you want to use. Like, I'll open up this one here. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. Alright, so I recorded this yesterday, and as you see, when you open it up, it'll immediately begin playing the audio file itself. So this is just the main menu in Overwatch, and I'll pause it with the space bar. And if you want to, you have say you did a quick clip and you want to just quickly grab a section out of it, you could just move the in and out sections on it, and then you could just straight up go to export it. So that makes it real fast that you can do it to grab one of these presets like H.264 high profile, and you could just click export file and be done with it. Or personally, what I would do is go to the codec average bitrate, set it to at least 40, or depending on what your upload speed is, you might want to change that and do dual pass. But if you really wish to do something like that, I honestly would suggest using Handbrake instead, but I digress for now. Since we're talking about Shotcut. So either or, you get that base set up for the preset, and tell it to export file and save it to where you wish. I'll hit export file, save it as is, testing, and click save, and as you see here, it'll begin said export. So this will be really, really quick. I mean, I'm not even gonna finish it here, so I'll stop the job. So you see when you have jobs here, it'll go through, say what's coding, say stopped, failed, or of course done if it's done properly, and that's all. Now, I'm sure people are wondering who, if you're watching this video, where's the timeline? That's quite simple. You can either just go down, tell it to add it yourself, video track, audio track, or you can just straight up drag this down and it'll automatically set one up for you, the video and the audio together. Now, unfortunately, you can't separate the actual files themselves, so split is for actually cutting the video itself. So you see here, you bring it over to someplace on it, and you just hit S and it'll split the file. So it's not for splitting the audio and the video. So since it is quite large, you might want to make it smaller, so right click and just tell it to make it smaller. Now here you have 4 selections you can do. You can do mute, hide for hiding the track itself, composite, or lock the track so you can't change anything on it. So very basic things. If you add another video track, it'll automatically add a composite to it. So that makes it very easy if you import something with a transparency, say a PNG file or a video you're going to be changing around with said filters. It'll automatically have the composite for it to show the video behind it. Alright, now to do fade in and fade outs, that's quite simple. Let's grab another video here. I'm going to move it over to when you're selecting said character, and then I'll just drag it again onto said timeline. Again, pretty easy. Drag it from the top left corner or the top right corner to set the fade in and the fade out. Now, we're not done with this. 2 reasons. Well, mainly for one reason, for both sides. So, if I go here and I tell it to play, you see it goes from black over. Most video editors in general don't have a setting like this. It just automatically has the proper transparency set, but for some odd reason, they don't have that for Shotcut. So you go to filters and tell it to adjust opacity of fade with black. So now if I go here and tell it to play, it'll fade in properly without a single issue. And of course it'll do the same on the other said side, as long as you went over to make sure that is selected. There's nothing there, so this one actually doesn't do it, which is actually kind of odd, you know, since usually it would just fade to black on any other normal editor. This is the Evolve match. I'm just gonna slap a little bit of it in there as well. Drag that on over. Ah, yeah, that's my fault. For some reason it wasn't liking the old one from OBS recording, so I'll just grab the Shotcut lossless one I did for checking the color grading between the original RGB and this. So drag that out, move it over and play, and it should have 0 issues and fade on over, as you can see here. Now this is great. What about other filters though? Alright, other filters, of course, it has a set of favorites that people might want to use. And of course, straight up just the video ones and audio over here. You'd even copy, say, an audio channel if something's really just mono and whatnot, so you can get an actual set stereo for both sides or such. Let's grab something from video, shall we? Do that. So it's got a good number of filters. Go over here, just mess with it. Yeah, make it just fantasy style World of Warcraft. Lots of saturation right there. Why not for just that? So as you can see, it has a good number of filters. Now, one of the major things on this program that is really nice, as you can see here, would be the hardware acceleration you can use under settings, the GPU processing. It works great most of the time. Sometimes you can once in a while in the program get a crash. It's still in the experimental stages. And one of the things is you can only use an OpenGL. Who cares? It seems to work wonderful. Windows has the choice between OpenGL and DirectX. DirectX, of course, again, only if you're not using GPU acceleration. But I would suggest just using the OpenGL and the GPU acceleration, so you should be able to preview everything that's going on quite nicely. What else is there really to discuss on general video edit things? It's got really all the standards that you could expect, other than hotkeys, of course, being a little off. Now, if you hit S and you say just not want to move everything, you just hit delete. I'll remove that. Instead of hitting delete for everything to be moved over, Control X will bring said one over that it was on. So all the good general things you would expect. So downsides. Now we're going from the said pros now over to the cons, which would be no real keyframing for the effects still. They stated a while back they wanted to get this implemented in, so you do have keyframes for effects, but they don't. I have once in a while encountered a crash with the program itself, and sometimes it can be very finicky with for overclocked computers and such. I have my computer at 4.4 gigahertz. I have tried doing straight up 2-pass exports with the .mp4 handler, and I have ended up with the program itself just crashing on me. That, of course, is no fun. No, well, it wasn't to do a straight crash. It would fail to do the job because it doesn't like the overclocking. Every other program I have, from Handbrake, AVI Demux to Davinci Resolve and Blender, would have 0 issues, but for some odd reason, Shotcut would have an issue. But overall, it works great. There shouldn't be much of an issue for you going into this. So that really pretty much wraps it up. There's not too much to say about it for cons. Well, going between this Blender and Davinci Resolve, there aren't going to be as many remotely the cons like, say, for VSDC. VSDC had, of course, a color grading issue, the crappy encoding with the pixelation. Shotcut doesn't have that issue at all. It looks just as good from it looks just as good on export as the original RGB partial. So there's nothing really else to say about it. I mean, it would be cool if you didn't have to, for the fade in and fade outs, to have to adjust the opacity instead of fade with black, because they should just naturally fade to black, you know, like the other editors. But those are just minor gripes. That really just wraps it all up. There's nothing else to really say on this other than hopefully they get the key grading done on this. There's an update for the program literally every single month, so hopefully they come out with the keyframes for the filter soon. It works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, so there's no platform that you cannot use this on. So if you want to do something basic editor, something that you can quickly export things in, especially for like DNX HD or lossless H.264, then this is great. Definitely suggested, definitely recommended. And if you're looking for this quick edits, then this is definitely it. Nothing else I need to really say. Maybe point out it even as H.265. So that's just wonderful. And this really wraps up the video. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. If you have a comment, you know what to do down below. If you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And I hope you come back for more. And as always, thank you for watching my videos.